Hello, and welcome back to Control. Today we will be going to the investigation sector, um, and that will be a start to our Alan Wake DLC.
Everything's good here, Director.
Now then, investigation sector. Okay, took a while, had to hit enter twice. Not a very good start, made me anxious. Um, God damn it, that's a very spooky beginning. Like I'm like, are the textures missing?
Hello? Anyone here? Guess not.
Is the game broken? Is something else afoot? Missing agents. Oops. Mr. Kirkland, here are latest agents confirmed missing, presumed dead from the containment breach yesterday. Jonathan Corner, Ezra Cruz, Caroline Dempsey, Lindsay Malcolm, Charles Murray, Derek Shaw. Letters of my condolences. Lessons of condolence will be delivered to you to sign prior to sending them to their families. You will be updated as soon as additional confirmations are made. Also, per your request, a network engineer checked how many cases were backed up digitally. Unfortunately, a large number of active investigations were not archived yet, and the only hard copies of reports exist behind the firebreak. They are lost, I'm afraid.
It's a lot more crowded than the rest of the Bureau.
Darling investigation. Per authorization from Mr. Kirkland, the internal investigation was launched into the ethical practices of Dr. Casper Darling, head of research. Despite the accounts of Anonymous regarding inhumane treatment of a currently housed in the Bureau, our official findings regarding this were inconclusive. Numerous obstacles arose during this investigation. The majority of sector personnel seemed to be wholly unaware of any such contained there. One confirmed the codename to be, but all files pertaining to that name were inaccessible, being classified under the highest clearance level. Investigators were similarly blocked from entering the research wing to interview its staff. The matter was further complicated by the lack of clarity on whether non-human paranatural entities warrant humane treatment. While this investigation cannot address any charges against Dr. Darling, we do recommend an investigation into research. Casey inquiry. Mr. Dennis, a request came through recently from an FBI agent asking for all our files on Bright Falls, specifically on the disappearance of the author, Alan Wake. Per the Interagency Information Exchange Agreement, I had some paper pushers gather up a folder of all the pre-approved files. Don't worry, all the inappropriate material is either missing or redacted. But I'm writing to let you know that we received this request from a special agent named Alex Casey. Sounds familiar, right? That's because Alex Casey is the name of the fictional detective in those hardboiled crime books Alan Wake wrote. Pretty interesting that an FBI agent sharing a name with the most famous character Wake wrote is looking into a case dealing with a writer's fiction coming true. I think this is worth looking into. But what's your opinion? Just give the word and I start the surveillance on the guy. Gleason. Now, give me just a brief moment and I will be back with you. Let us proceed with our investigations into investigation sector. Firebreak and sector head office. Staffing issue. Mr. Dennis, so yes, there is an increase in AWE cases and yes, it would be a good idea to put together a special task force to examine exactly why that is. However, it seems that a tiny detail has slipped through the cracks. We don't have the damn staff! If you expect us to detect, investigate, and process more AWE cases, you need to give us more people. It's simple math. Between the staff we lost in the Hartman thing and the ones who left for other departments after Kirkland quit, we are barely managing to keep up with the workload. Hell, just filing the paperwork for all the altered items we left behind in the sector has been an ordeal. Another thing, and this is going to sound paradoxical, but we have an overcrowding situation. This lobby isn't meant to accommodate a whole sector's worth of staff. We put forward a motion to move investigations to a more suitable locations months ago. It better not still be sitting on your desk. The people are getting restless, and as current interim replacement, it's your job to handle it. Best regards, Agent Grayson. Hartman thing. Is this Emil Hartman thing? I expect you to not be open, by the way.
It's not working. Probably a loose power cord.
To whom it may concern, it is with great anger and regret that I tender my resignation as head of investigations for the Federal Bureau of Control. I do this in protest of the rampant disregard for my departments. My staff cannot continue to work in these conditions. Previous requests and warnings have fallen on deaf ears, so I must now rely on my actions to speak louder than my words ever could. I blame this situation on our, who has routinely ignored my requests for assistance in reclaiming the parts of the investigation sector lost to the wolves inside. I will never forget the screams of brave agents begging for us to open that firebreak. I will carry that shame for the rest of my days. There has failed his agents. I shall never forgive him for that. Sincerely, William Kirkland. Tractor supplement. Note, miscommunication led to a local coroner examining the body of William Burrow. William. Male, Caucasian. 33-year-old man found dead on his property per police report. Remains obtained for coroner's office also include blood, urine, bile, stomach contents, and bone fragments. Blunt force injuries. Head. A. Lacerations, left ear cheek. Blunt force injuries. Extremities. Dislocation right knee. Complete avulsion of the right upper extremity with associated fracture of the proximal right humerus. Extensive trauma. Abdominal region. Complete avulsion of multiple organs including stomach, heart, liver, pancreas, kidneys, and portions of the large and small intestine, all missing from scene. It is my opinion that Mr. Burrow's death is not the result of a mechanical accident as claimed by authorities. The removal of organs is consistent with animal attack. Keystone inspection. Mr. Kirkland, we stopped at Keystone on our way to the target AWE like you asked. I'm sending my report directly to you to try and keep a lead on this Grumman Morales desertion issue. We didn't find any sign of them here. Given their records, it is possible they've switched teams like you suspected, but I don't think that's the case. An event definitely occurred here in Keystone, and I think Grumman and Morales got caught up in it. Their entire population has vanished into thin air. Reminds me of the ordinary case, but that was just the adults if I am remembering the file correctly. This is different. I think our guys are casualties, not traitors. If it was an AWE, it seems to be over. We walked through the whole town and the only strange thing we noticed were markings on various buildings. 2 overlapping circles with a dot in the shared space. Could be unrelated. I'll show you the pictures when I get back. Wasn't something like that in the motel? In the meantime, you should send a team out here to cordon this place off and maybe get the comms guy working on a cover story. Agent Keenum. I wonder if there is any way to revisit the motel. Oh, that's a lot of reading here. Item is not in bureau custody, none known. A Frank Elk tractor. olive green, dried blood on the grill when last seen. Item is capable of vocalized responses or growls and unmanned locomotion, considered highly aggressive and dangerous. The item first came to the Bureau's attention after the death of William Burrow, owner of Burrow Farm outside of Trenton, Texas. Local authorities arrived on scene after an employee found a mutilated body of Mr. Burrow beneath his tractor. Police arrived but were immediately driven away by the tractor. Panicked calls to federal authorities were intercepted by Bureau communications staff. A team was dispatched. Upon arrival, the agents approached the item. It responded by growling like a bear. 3 agents were injured when they tried to detain the item, which escaped. Aerial searches for the item are ongoing. Speaking to Mrs. Burrow only revealed that she had a domestic altercation with Mr. Burrow earlier the night of the incident. Whether these events are connected is currently unknown. Do I need a power core from down there? Ethics investigation. Per authorization from Mr. Kirkland, internal investigation was launched into the legality of the Prime Candidate Program by the Federal Bureau of Control. Since all known subjects relevant to the investigation used executive privilege to decline interviews, very little first-hand information was gathered. However, anonymous sources and documentation declassified by Mr. Kirkland both paint an alarmingly clear picture of systematic were brought into the oldest house and placed under examination and testing with the aim of appointing one as director upon maturity. This program has produced no successful cases and only resulted in the traumatic of paranaturally inclined. Not only is this the breach of the Ash Act, but it flies in the face of basic human. The investigation team unequivocally the Prime Candidate Program and recommends that it be immediately. Well, my interpretation of that is that the program must be shut down.
There. Now that gate should open.
Yes, but first let's go to the sector head office. Cauldron Lake update. To Chief Investigator Dennis. It happened again. 3rd time this year. Something certainly has it out for our could be raccoons. The locals certainly complain about them enough. But why the hell would raccoons keep going after a monitoring station? Doesn't add up. Anyway, I've got a bureau tech going to the site next week to take a look. Next on the list of recurring problems is the staff at the Lake House research station. How am I supposed to effectively keep an eye on Lake if they won't let me see any data? Hell, I don't even know what they're researching out there. We need to petition them again to share their info with investigations agents. It's only a matter of time before this hits again, and I want to be prepared. Anyway, if anyone at HQ asks why the Bright Falls report is a little thin this month, tell them it's because we couldn't take any readings. In the meantime, I might invest in some raccoon traps. Sincerely, Agent Esteves. Again, that's a lot of reading in this small section alone. Underhill background. Dr. Raya Underhill is a professor at the University of Woodrow in the United Kingdom, where she teaches biology with a focus on botany. Dr. Underhill once worked with the Bureau as parabotanist stationed in the research sector of the oldest house. She served with no incidents or demerits and is praised by those who formerly worked with her, including Dr. Darling. Dr. Underhill has no known connections to paracriminal organizations or any record of breaching her NDAs since leaving the Bureau. Her civilian behavior has been ideal, with the exception of an ongoing personal relationship with Dr. Darling that appears to have begun during their time as co-workers in the research sector and revisited intermittently ever since. Depending on the duration of her work in the oldest house, it may be required to have both parties sign a relationship clearance form. This investigation has found no compelling reason to deny Dr. Darling's request to offer Dr. Underhill an interim position with the aim of finding a solution to the mode threshold issue. Director Investigation. Compiled by Redacted. Per authorization from Mr. Kirkland was launched into the of Director Zachariah Trench. A recent change in witnessed in Director Trench, including aggressive when with other staff, has been observed. However, this investigation is aimed at interpreting this issue rather than proving it. Notable between Director Trench and Dr. Daly has been witnessed by numerous Bureau staff. Although both declined to meet for an interview on the matter, witness accounts suggest that their arguments center around the dimensional research wing and the kept inside. However, no evidence exists to confirm Director Trench as anything more than interpersonal disagreements. This investigation has concluded that Director Trench's behavior is not indicative of any, and that his fitness to lead is not in question. Kirkland, I'm growing tired of your blatant attempts to lay your incompetence at my doorstep. I know you want this to be true, but you are head of investigations. This failure is your responsibility. What did you think would happen holding a dangerous specimen in investigations? The containment sector exists for a reason. They are better trained and better equipped for this type of work. In fact, they have admirably taken on certain AWE monitoring responsibilities that your staff are no longer capable of. This happens more and more now. And don't think your petty internal investigations have gone past my notice. You are a worm. Everything I've done has been for the benefit of the Bureau. The Prime Candidate program only failed because of Darling. You are both failures plotting against me. You are traitors, but the truth will emerge out of you. You are choosing to become my enemy, Kirkland. You don't want to be. If I dare to say so, that is a threat. And threat is not very cool. Now, a bit more reading. Specimen Escape Assessment. The purpose of internal investigation is to examine the containment failure of specimen SI-1 that resulted in the deaths of agents. An inspection report of the containment equipment 3 days earlier showed no faults. Investigators suspect human error to be the cause, yet no department has provided any evidence to support this. Technicians were able to recover their researchers' notes on the specimen from the internal network. On the specimen began displaying a sharp increase in aggressive. Cross-referencing that date with various logs found only 2 events inconsistent with the sector's daily routine. The air filters were changed, and an hour prior to the incident, a civilian named Alice entered the sector regarding an unrelated investigation. Given their connection to the same AWE case, it is likely that Mrs. Presence is relevant to the specimen's escape and to the investigation is ongoing. The only Alice that comes to mind when we're talking in the context of Alan Wake is Alice Wake, the wife of Alan.
I'm no detective, but something definitely happened here.
Blessed Organization. This group/individual has operated outside of the Bureau's notice for decades, perhaps longer, displaying a level of skill and caution rarely seen in paracriminal groups. A review of past cases has found various mentions of their activity over the years. In 2016, a production company called Blessed Pictures was connected to an altered item case as well as the death of an agent from exposure to illicit supernatural materials. In 1994, a Los Angeles-based public speaker named Chester Blass was involved in an illegal use of an altered item. In 1988, a business called Blessed Repair and Service was suspected of involvement with an object of power case, perhaps even creating it. None of these businesses or individuals have ever been located. However, their connection to appearances of altered items and objects of power is too direct to be considered circumstantial. An arrest order has been issued for any persons believed to be involved with the blessed organization. And then let's not forget America Overnight episode, where host received a letter, right? With a blessed fondue set or something like that.
Do we know each other? This feels familiar. I can't seem to... I've forgotten it. I'm sorry. My name is Alan Wake. Who are you? Who are you? Do I know you?
I'm your friend Tom. Tom Zane. There's nothing to worry about.
Tom. The poet. The diver. You look different.
That was just a role. A character. The protagonist I played in my old film. I'm a filmmaker. An auteur like yourself. We're working on this together, remember? An artistic collaboration. You need a drink. Heaps.
Endless. Darkness. Nothing holds still.
But we're very close now. You've been writing. You found a way to escape. It'll work this time.
Riding.
You found a way!
No. I don't... Wait. There's something. It's my double. He's out there. I've seen him.
Yeah. Nothing to worry about. I'm dealing with it. It's fine, my friend. Let me handle him.
You've met him? What the hell?
Now, come on. You misunderstand me.
What in the world?
That was Alan Wake, the writer who went missing in that AWE case I read about. What's he doing here?
The thing.
Thomas Zane was with him. The poet. No, wait. He was a filmmaker. I always remember that wrong.
Texas. Braniff Airways. Zane is not a diver. Zane met another Alan. We're talking about Mr. Scratch, right? That's only because I remember there were two Alans, but that was like a rational Alan and a scared Alan, and they kind of like met together and became a single Alan. So the second Alan that was left is Mr. Scratch. But supposedly Alan himself contained him in the Alan Wake's American Nightmare. So what other Alan did Zane talk about, if that was Zane? Because I remember Zane as being a diver dude. And that is not a diver dude. Plus he looks exactly like Alan Wake, which is very concerning. Why did you do it 3 times? So what if Zane... Well, he spent a lot of time in a dark place, right? What if he did not give up on his idea to leave this place, but now he will just leave Alan behind and he will... Maybe he will take the life of Alan, like his place in the real world. Also, yeah, Alan is slowly going insane, but that I believe that could be expected if you are spending place in some weird world. Can you call it world? What are we doing here? Ow. Spooky. Not a fan of spooky.
Dr. Emil Hartman, devoured by hungry darkness, became the thing that had been Hartman. Broke loose, killed everyone it could, lurking, roaming, waiting. Then something else came, a resonance. The thing that had been Hartman went through another change. Dr. Emil Hartman was desperate. The Federal Bureau of Control had stolen his life's work. This was his last chance, his final experiment. What he'd been too scared to do before. Hartman dove into the lake, was taken, devoured by hungry darkness, became the thing that had been Hartman. Only an echo of him remained, fragmented impulses on autoplay. Violent, bloodthirsty darkness in the driver's seat. Emerging from the lake, the thing was captured by the FBC. Brought in, contained, studied. The thing broke loose, killed everyone it could. The FBC fell back and sealed the sector. The thing was alone in the dark, lurking, roaming, waiting. Then something else came. Not darkness, but similar enough. A sound. A resonance. It shouldn't be a surprise. If there's one, why not another? The darkness inside the thing could have been immune, could have resisted, fought, could have been passed by, passed through with no effect. But it didn't, and it wasn't. Maybe it had grown weaker over time, not aged. It was timeless, but weaker with no link to its source. A metamorphosis followed. The thing that had been Hartman went through another change.
Talking about short attention span, I wanted to say something after watching this, but I already forgot what was it. Oh well. Cool. Oh yeah, I clearly cannot get over here. Artie? Are you here by any chance?
Creepy, damp, and abandoned. Why did Wake want me to come here?
Reasons, I guess? Wait, what the heck is that thing? It's like the furniture shapes. Shaded facet. Okay. Yeah, what is that thing?
That doesn't look like a house shift.
You think?
Do I even want to know?
I do. Filing and processing, control point. Now then.
The hiss are already in here.
Well, the thing that used to be Hartman got hissed, right? So it would be reasonable to expect hiss here. Hello, my feet gossip at night and now I have to wear shoes to bed. Sincerely, me. Yeah, sure. Service tunnel, okay. What else do we have in here? Office that I just trashed?
Whoa. Looks like the house has gotten a little wild in here.
Hartman arrest. Victim names: Alan Wake, Thor Anderson, Odin Anderson, somebody else, Rudolph Wayne, Wendy DeSalle, Thomas Emerson, somebody else. Charges: kidnapping of altered individuals, sanctions against altered organizations, obstruction of Bureau investigation, breaching of the Ash Act. Offenders' property seized as evidence to be used in conjunction with the ongoing AWE investigation. Offenders' personal effects have been sent to research for analysis. After being cleared by Bureau researchers, all victims have been released. Biannual surveillance orders were assigned to each except the Anderson brothers due to their senility and Wake, possibly deceased. So, not going through here, right? Yeah, I'm sure you can kind of cram yourself in there. But then again, the suit. Yeah, I don't want to mess up the suit. You're telling me I cannot clear out this pile of crap? Wow. You must be joking. Huh. I can crash the wall though. I would prefer to find the readable here rather than, well, you know, just a resource. But it is what it is, I guess. Now, we are going through the service tunnel. If we go through the service tunnel.
Darkness is blocking the door. So now I have to deal with an interdimensional noise and sentient shadows.
Well, apparently Jesse.
Light burns it away, huh? Makes sense.
I have a feeling I already played this game. Oh, hi, sir. Some mold stuff. We're not scared of some mold. More than that, we can kind of clear it out maybe. Was this it? It's very neat how long Dr. Underhill's bill is working. I really appreciate the duration on this thing. Operations corridor. Yeah, that's where the house went crazy. We have one plant over here, by the way. We have operations center and active investigations over here.
The third thing. The sound made darker, the darkness made louder. Hartman was stretched, like a worm through time. The third thing was a monster. Now he crashed out of darkness toward Phaeton.
I don't like anybody crashing into me. I do not appreciate it. Thank you very much, you can keep it to yourself.
The resonance carves its way through the thing that had been Hartman, vibrating, remolding. The sound changes the darkness, and the darkness changes the sound. They both changed what remained of Hartman. They all turned into something else. A third thing. The sound made darker. The darkness made louder. Hartman was stretched. Stretched as anyone when seen from out of time, like a worm through time. Almost an Ouroboros, a spiral, a maelstrom. The gravity well of a black hole, twisting inward, tightening, taking you deeper and deeper to the bottom, the heart, and through to the other side. The third thing said, when you hear this, you will know you're in new you. He said, we build you till nothing remains. He said, under the conceptual reality behind this reality, you must want these waves to drag you away. He said, baby, 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 yeah, orange peel. The third thing was a monster. He'd tear apart any ordinary person crossing his path. Now he crashed out of darkness toward Phaeton. There was nothing ordinary about Phaeton.
Except the fact that she was living in ordinary. Blimey, that's creepy. Okay. But the toilet is perfectly working.
Reminder, all employees are required to report their hours at the end of each month. The Federal Bureau of Control maintains that time is not subjective and hours passed on alternative planes cannot be claimed. Astral dives do not accumulate overtime compensation. Thank you for your attention.
Well, that's crap. That's some big time corporate BS right over there. Makes me sad. Okay, I really don't see either a light source or a power core, so...
Agent Fisher, day 6 inside the motel. Agent Fisher, day 6 inside the motel. Utilized surveillance methods are as follows. Fiber optic cameras slid under the individual room doors. Motion detectors in the lobby area. Tripwire, triggering a flash camera across the main entrance. Even fingerprint powder on the front desk. Results are varying at best. But mostly just... inconclusive and unusable. The footage is corrupted. Sometimes even the equipment is damaged. I don't know how, exactly. I think this place is making fun of me. That's the only explanation. I can hear them laughing and screaming behind the closed doors. I can hear the call bell go and ding multiple times a day, but when I look, there's no one there. I know I'm supposed to stay out of sight, but I've seen the doors closing just before I can catch even a glimpse of anyone or anything. They're messing with me, whoever they are. I think... Wait, shh. There's something. I gotta get this. Gotta get the cable out. Come on, you fiber optic fuck. Cooperate. Okay, there we go. All right, that was faint, but I definitely heard movement coming from the hallway. I think I might have finally caught one. Ha! The recording better work this time, or I swear to God I'll... What? Hello? Who's there? Oh, shit. I'm with the FBC. Move away from the door. I have a... Where's my...
Well, that is peculiar recording. What else do we have in here? Interrogation complaint. Kirkland, so you put me on the desk duty just because I did the thing I was hired to do? My job? Want to know what I call that? Crap. Asking us to interrogate these scum without using words like altered items or AWEs or paracriminal is the stupidest thing I've heard in my life, and I've heard some stupid things. They already know the facts. Hell, they know just as much as us, if not more. And they get to sit there laughing at us while we dance around our words trying not to leak classified terminology. They already know the terminology. If you think pulling me off the case will stop me, then think again. That guy blew up those tracks. He killed those people. All to make a train turn outward. We have him dead to rights, and you need to let me back in the interrogation cell so I can get him to flip on his bodies. These people are terrorists and deserve to be treated as such. This won't stop unless we stop them. You can go ahead and put me on suspension. See if that slows me down. Agent Hewitt. Somebody created a whole train as an altered item. Black market. A black market hub specializing in the trade of occult talismans, relics, and other assorted ceremonial objects, as well as genuine altered and supernatural materials, was raided in Czech Republic by a team of special investigators. Unsuccessful attempts by suspects to escape using altered items resulted in numerous casualties and prevented the Bureau from questioning all participants. The following interrogations revealed that not only is there a vast network of these retailers, but that they seem to be gathering information on altered items and other supernatural materials from sources unknown to the Bureau. The Bureau's concern here is threefold. There is a growing underground market for paranatural materials, which implies a growing awareness of their existence among a niche group of the general public. These criminal individuals do not seem aware of the item's paranatural powers, and their attempt to activate them could prove devastation if done in populated areas. The motivation of these collectors are largely unknown. And we have some stuff over here on the board. This thing which is closed. Something over here. NASA Cooperation Review. Following the NASA FBC Coordination Agreement of 1972, the Bureau has provided NASA with numerous technological advancements based on our research, including the black rock lining now found in all spacefaring vessels. In return, all data gathered during space missions is made available for Bureau researchers to analyze. Recently, certain individuals have raised the concern that this relationship does not adequately benefit the Bureau, either intellectually or financially. A thorough examination of the costs accrued by both organizations has shown that the expense of NASA's recent launch of the far outweighs any spending related to the processing and delivery of black rock. From its medium Earth orbit, they will provide the Bureau with an unparalleled resource for remotely monitoring and photographing AWE sites, a resource that would be lost if the partnership ends. It is the opinion of this committee that maintaining a cooperative relationship with our colleagues at NASA is of vital importance. Okay, that's another toilet. Well, at least I found the core. Eagle Limited Summary. A train derailment resulting in 62 casualties and numerous injuries was suspected to have been a work of paracriminal group known as. As a result of this event, the agents discovered that one of the cars had become altered with a persistent auditory event. It remains to be determined whether the AWE was spontaneous or the direct result of the sabotage. The Bureau had been tracking said group at the time, and the intel gathered suggested an event of this caliber was imminent in Bloomington. As a result, a response team on site was able to respond to the train accident site within minutes of its occurrence. They arrived to find emergency processes underway, but also equipment left behind by the suspected group. A suspicious onlooker managed to elude agents after they attempted to make contact. Further investigations of the accident site revealed a curiously undamaged train car that exhibited an altered state when entered. This individual car was secured and transported to the investigation sector for further studies. The Shadow. Paranatural entity A010, also known as the Shadow, is an aggressive consisting of three known types. Type A, localized manifestation of sentient capable of occupying organic and inorganic material as well as exerting over its surroundings. Type B, shaded individuals, human bodies by the shadow. These individuals become notably more aggressive but do seem to retain their previous selves. Research is ongoing as to whether this condition is reversible. Shaded objects. Similar to Type B, except that inanimate objects are solely to be used as destructive tools. Each type seems to work toward a shared goal, possibly targeting certain individuals, see AWE 35, which may imply a shared link to intelligence. The threat this entity poses warrants immediate exploration of offensive-defensive measures. The investigation sector is being outfitted with additional lightning sources, some internally powered, to prepare for an eventuality of an So we're talking about like Taken, right?
My understanding of the darkness is fragmented, incomplete. This abyss, this void, it very much does not wish to be understood. If light symbolizes knowledge, then it stands to reason that darkness would equate to ignorance. By its very nature, it abhors comprehension. Of course, my own nature drives me to comprehend all. We are opposing forces, destined to collide. And given this conflict of natures, we know that the light of truth will burn away the darkness, both figuratively and literally. Any significant light source can be used as protection, even weaponry against this metaphysical gloom. And then there are the artists. I know for a fact that Tom, Wake, the Anderson brothers, and Lane all had some involvement with the darkness. The question is whether their uncanny ability to affect reality through their art beckons the darkness, or did their work perhaps even create it? With Wake now secure in my lodge, I expect I shall grow closer to learning the answers to these questions. Assuming he cooperates, which is proving quite the challenge. Well, perseverance is the foundation of knowledge. Speaking of, I must be off on my rounds.
Who's Wayne? That name does not ring any bell. It will not reappear. Can you just briefly tell me what that thing is about?
Lads in here have died standing up. Lighten them up.
Ah, more plants. Alright, let's go make some new friends.
Stop the mode and get rid of darkness.
Here, darkness everywhere. New day, same old bloody city, says the whole place. Like tar but good for nothing. Get rid of it.
Okay, that's pretty far. So let's check the plants. Shine a light on the plants. Ooh, that's an interesting one. Okay. And burn the dark. Yeah, also somewhere further ahead. So, no. This one. Because this one I might be able to actually get to. I mean, of course. His Ranger, Airborne. This subgroup of his corrupted Rangers has manifested the ability to levitate similarly to his elevated agents. However, these Airborne his Rangers display no telekinetic abilities and simply continue to use mundane Bureau weaponry. This evolution being so similar to the elevated possibly indicates that his can share permutations through a type of network or perhaps osmosis. However, the fact that this development in his ranges has only been observed in the investigations sector may indicate that an environmental factor is responsible. They could be responding to an altered item or other paranatural element found only in this sector. Or perhaps this is the natural progression of the His Ranger phenotype. Not enough time has passed to determine a conclusive trajectory of development for each of the His manifestations, assuming any such trajectory exists. Now then, I would like to find some plants for myself. Oh, there is a third plant, but it's way far. So I wonder if this is like one of the plants that I'm supposed to shine a light on. And if so, whether that would work.
There you go. Doesn't that feel better?
Okay, but there should be 3 of them. Number 2.
Welcome back to the land of the living, little buddy.
I do not expect number 3 to be right in here, to be honest. Also do not expect to find one in the Modi place. I think that would be kind of weird if there is a plant over here. So for now let's ignore this place. Now this will be just 2 offices. Right? So this is no longer operations corridor. Any of you plans? Maybe not. If I would have been a plant, where would I have placed myself? Peculiar question, is it not? Okay, I found one. Now just to find 2 more. And you're completely sure that none of those count, right? Okay. Just checking, just checking. There are none in these small offices, none in the central passage. I guess we gotta check this place as well. But no, just the sofa. None over here. Okay, there's the second one, okay. Still gotta find number 3. could try to go a little bit further down this hallway. Because maybe it's like in one of the stalls somewhere in the toilet. Because why not? It's not here either. I mean, I never could have imagined that I'm gonna be wrapping an episode with a plant search. But here we are. Certainly not in the safe room. Where are you, little guy? There you are. Okay, that covers abandoned offices. Now let's go find number 3 in operations corridor. I mean, this is operations center, not a corridor, so this area at the very least seems way smaller. Oh, yeah, you are right over here. Alright, so we are done with at least those. We can make a checkpoint. Ooh, weapon form. I have a surge. And that is super cool. That means I can now research or check like what I can do with search. But that will take place in some following episode. For today, we are done. I believe it's an exhaustive introduction to Alan Wake DLC with so much stuff to read. But this is all increasingly interesting stuff. I am glad to see that whatever Trench and Darling were doing at least got attention from some other sector, or at least some kind of like internal affairs investigation, because they did imprison the human being. Although, okay, it is a valid question whether, like, if a person has been affected by supernatural entity, do we consider it's still a human, and if so, do we still apply humane laws? But like, that's such a dangerous rhetoric, I think. I'm just glad that I'm not the one who doing these investigations. I'm just observing, I'm reading that, and I'm looking agency in its like internal activity as well. And I'm glad that I have another point of view on what Bureau is doing or how it was living its life. So good times, and we'll be going further next time. For now, thank you so much for staying with me. I hope you enjoy my company and my gameplay. If that's the case, please leave me a like and subscribe to the channel. Otherwise, let me know down in the comments what I can improve for you. Hope to see you next time. Have a nice day out there, and bye.